Hello and welcome to the Hire and Recruit at the U of M, Diversify Your Workforce with International Candidates module. This information is brought to you by 3 different units on the Twin Cities campus. We will introduce ourselves from top to bottom, left to right. There are 4 of us presenting today.
Hi everyone, I'm Betsy Madden. I'm a Senior International Counselor at the U of M's International Student and Scholar Services Office, also known as ISSS.
And I'm Raquel Anderson. I am an Employer Relations Coordinator in Career Services Administration.
Hello, my name is Jane Sitter. I am an International Career Consultant with Career Services Administration.
Hello everyone, my name is Beth Laurie and I am the Assistant Director of Employer Relations for the Career Services Office in the College of Liberal Arts on the Twin Cities campus.
This module is beneficial for anyone who is new to working with the University of Minnesota, commonly referred to as the U of M, or anyone that wants to learn more about hiring and recruiting international candidates to diversify your workforce. Let's get started. There are 5 different campuses throughout Minnesota. The campuses are relatively spread out. For example, Crookston is 295 miles from the Twin Cities campus. All 5 campuses are home to international students. There are both different and some similar programs offered at multiple campus locations. For example, agriculture education is a major offered at the College of Food, Agriculture, and Natural Resource Sciences on the Twin Cities campus and on the Crookston campus. And Human Resource Development is a major only offered in the College of Education and Human Development on the Twin Cities campus. The focus of this module is the Twin Cities campus. However, there will be overlapping information about the coordinate campuses.
Let's start with some basic terms and what we mean in this module. For example, what do we mean when we say international student? There are lots of students at the U of M whose backgrounds are diverse, but they're not all international students that we're referring to in this module. The group we're referring to are non-immigrants. Their permanent home is in another country. They must be full-time students. They're in the United States on a student visa. Their family typically still lives in their home country. They've also done their high school outside of the United States. For example, most of our Chinese and Indian students are international students. We're not talking about immigrant or US-born students. Their permanent home is right here in the United States. They may be full or part-time students. They're in the US as permanent residents, refugees, US citizens, and so on. A lot of times their family lives with them in the United States, and they've done their high school here, possibly in Minnesota. For example, most of our Somali and Hmong students are not international students. So now we have a common understanding of what we mean by international student. Let me take a little bit more time to talk about student visas. Anyone who wants to spend a significant but temporary period of time in the United States must have some kind of a visa to stay here. That visa must match their purpose for being here. So it makes sense that our international students come to Minnesota on student visas. They get those visas with a combination of U of M paperwork and a visit to the U.S. Embassy in their home country, which grants them the visa. The most common visa type is called F1. Most of our U of M international students are studying here on F1 visas. Another type of student visa is the J1. We also have J1 students at the U, but they're much less common.
As you may imagine, many of the U's nearly 6,300 international students come from China and India. We also have a significant number from Korea. The list on the right hand shows the top 10 countries where our international students come from. All students must either have a native English ability or get a high score on a rigorous test to prove their English ability. even before they are accepted as students here. In total, there are 130 countries represented in the U's student body. Our international students bring a wealth of diversity and experiences to the U of M campus and to Minnesota. Most of our international students, both graduate and undergraduate, are enrolled in the College of Science and Engineering, the College of Liberal Arts, and the Carlson School of Management. And yes, most of them are enrolled in fields such as electrical engineering, computer science, and business administration. But you may be surprised to learn that international students are also deeply knowledgeable about the social sciences. Approximately 200 are psychology majors, and approximately 500 are economics majors. Some majors have required internships or field experiences like human resource development and child psychology. We surveyed employers who have hired international students and employees. We asked them to describe the advantage their organization receives as a result of hiring international students. Michelle Thiessen, Volunteer Development Coordinator for the ARC Minnesota, a Twin Cities nonprofit, had this to say. International students are bilingual. They bring a unique perspective on how to best support individuals not familiar with U.S. social programs and government agencies. During their time at the U of M, international students are not only able to share their home culture with our community, but also enhance their knowledge about American culture, including American work culture through involvement outside of the classroom. More than half of our 6,000 plus international students are involved in a U of M student organization, and nearly as many are student organization leaders. A nationwide study that the U of M participates in every year reports that our international students improve their interpersonal and teamwork skills by 28%, their leadership skills by 21%, and their ability to prepare and make presentations by 28%. Moreover, approximately 60% of our international students are already working on our U of M campus in our labs, classrooms, dining halls, student activities, and more. International students and employees can also contribute to the staff development of your American employees. Maya Riza, HR generalist at the U of M's Institute for Social Research and Data Innovation, also known as the Minnesota Population Center, has hired international students and employees in several position types. She says that employing international students and/or foreign nationals has enriched the diversity of the Institute and allowed domestic staff to be exposed to different cultures right in the office. Working with international staff is a great way to learn about the world.
So how does your organization hire an international student for an internship? Since most of U of M international students are here on F1 visas, the work authorization possibilities that I'll describe pertain to F1 visas. I also use the word internship, but I'm referring to any work experience an international student does before they graduate. That could be an internship, practicum, field experience, part-time or full-time job, and so on. When an international student has an internship requirement to fulfill, or if they can get practical experience in their major by working in your organization before they graduate, they are allowed to do that. The visa rules for an internship are they can work up to 20 hours per week, but they can work full-time, anything over 20 hours per week, during U of M breaks like winter break, summer break, and even spring break. For you, the employer, there are no fees to pay or special paperwork to file. The student just needs a job offer. The student takes care of the rest. The work must be related to their major. If you're a little bit familiar with international students and work authorization, this is what we call Curricular Practical Training, or CPT. But don't worry if you aren't familiar with that term. You can still hire an international student for an internship if it meets these criteria.
It is likely that you have seen the historically low unemployment rates in the news throughout 2018, with U.S. unemployment at 3.9% in August 2018 and 3% in Minnesota in July 2018. The job market has become increasingly competitive, and considering creative solutions has grown in importance. There are numerous factors behind the low unemployment rates, including generational changes and a decline in domestic birth rates. According to the Pew Research population projections from 2011 to 2030 in the U.S., approximately 10,000 baby boomers will turn 65 each day, an age where they are likely to leave the workforce. What are the views of leaders in our local academic and business community on this topic? Recently, our local leaders have grown more attuned to the need to attract and retain international talent. They largely support the inclusion of international talent as a way to continue the growth and stability of the Minnesota economy. Ryan Allen, professor in the UMN Humphrey School of Public Affairs, says that we're actually losing more of our native-born residents than we're gaining. More people tend to leave the state of Minnesota than move here from other states, and so we're going to have to rely on international immigrants. Bill Blazer of the Minnesota Chamber of Commerce says that without immigrants to fill jobs, whole companies could disappear. They won't put up with having the opportunity to grow and not having the workers to fuel that growth. And Charlie Weaver, of the executive director of the Minnesota Business Partnership, says that we have a workforce shortage in Minnesota. Given the demographics, we cannot grow the workforce without immigrants. Minnesota has relationships around the world where we are sending Minnesota-made and grown products and services, including the countries shown in the top 10 here. We also have the fourth largest agricultural export market in the U.S. All of the countries we have business relationships with are represented within our UMN international community. The Twin Cities also maintains sister city relationships with 19 cities in 14 different countries. Considering our global connections and the value and innovation in considering different perspectives, it might be interesting to note that though only around 12% of the U.S. population is foreign-born, nearly 40% of the Nobel Prizes in fields of chemistry, medicine, and physics won by Americans have been awarded to immigrants. We benefit greatly from this innovation, and this value continues to be proven in research on working on diverse teams. The benefits of incorporating diverse perspectives in the workforce are well documented in research. Inclusive teams are known to outperform their peers on profitability, make better decisions, and deliver better results. Similarly, those who are able to speak two or more languages have demonstrated an ability to better process information and multitask.
So, how do you hire an international student after graduation? We've shared compelling data about the near and long-term future of the Minnesota and U.S. workforce and the need to hire international candidates in order to keep our economy growing. We've also talked about the value of hiring international students and how they can work in your organization while they're still students enrolled here at the U. But what about after they graduate? Can they still work if they aren't students anymore? Does your organization have to sponsor them? Student visa rules allow F1 students to get practical experience in their major after they graduate for up to 12 months. The work can be part-time or full-time, paid or unpaid. The work has to be related to the major they just finished, and there are no fees or paperwork for you, the employer. The international candidate must have an employment authorization card, which they apply for with help from ISSS. ISSS informs students about this process several times throughout their studies. There are many international candidates like this currently working throughout Minnesota and the United States, such as business analysts, human resources professionals, computer or software engineers, and so on. Again, If you're a little bit familiar with international students and work authorization, this is what we call optional practical training, or OPT. But don't worry if you aren't familiar with that term, you can still hire an international candidate for a post-graduation job if it meets these criteria. You might be wondering, what about that little asterisk next to the 12 months? The 12-month asterisk on the last slide refers to a great exception for international candidates who graduated from the U with a STEM degree. International candidates with a U.S. degree in science, technology, engineering, or math are eligible for additional time on top of the 12 months to work in the United States. STEM graduates are eligible for 24 additional months of work authorization, or a total of 3 years. They can work at least 20 hours per week, and the work must be paid. The work must also be related to their STEM major. For the employer, there are no fees, but there is some paperwork. The international candidate is responsible for coordinating the paperwork and the deadlines. They also work closely with ISSS in this regard. This is a great way to keep really valuable international employees in positions that can be hard to hire for. So in this webinar, we've covered how your organization can hire international students in a variety of ways, from their days as a student until after they graduate. But what if their student visa options have run out and you want to keep them as an employee? There are employment visa options. I won't go into detail about them, but I'll introduce some of the possibilities. The most common employment visa type is the H-1B. This is for jobs that require at least a bachelor's degree in a specialized occupation. The L-1 is to transfer an employee from a parent or subsidiary organization abroad to a U.S. parent or subsidiary of the same organization. 3 more employment visa types are specific to citizens of certain countries. The TN for Canadians and Mexicans, the E3 for Australians, and the H-1B1 for citizens of Chile or Singapore. You should be working either with your own in-house immigration office or with an immigration lawyer when considering one of these employment visa options. When hiring outside counsel, we understand the fees to range between $2,000 and $6,000. Further, in most cases, the employer is required to pay the USCIS filing fees. If it's the visa fees that stops your organization from sponsoring for employment visas, consider the value that an international candidate brings to a team. The diverse perspectives that leverages your organization above the rest. The language ability and cultural insights that an international candidate provides that makes your organization competitive globally and locally. As we've shown, the U.S. is experiencing very low unemployment rates currently, and with the baby boomers retiring at a fast rate, skilled labor could continue to be difficult to find. The cost to recruit, hire, and train a new employee averages several $1,000s. We think the fees to sponsor a current employee who has proven their value are better spent than the cost to train a new employee. And much of this information from the employer's perspective is available on the ISSS website. In short, it is legal. There is very little paperwork, and for internships and immediately after graduation, the expense of hiring an international student is the same as hiring an American. Most of all, the benefits to your organization are great.
The University of Minnesota offers many ways for employers to connect with our talented and diverse international student population. We encourage employers to post their employment opportunities on Gold Pass, powered by Handshake, which is the central resource for employers to post employment opportunities such as internships and full-time positions, as well as career events, and to submit on-campus interview schedules. Gold Pass reaches students and alumni on all 5 campuses of the U of M. There are other posting systems on campus in addition to Gold Pass, and these are listed on the right side of this slide. For example, the Carlson School of Management offers The Edge to their undergraduate business students. Employers can find out what's happening in the Career Services offices on the Twin Cities campus and ask specific questions of their employer relations staff by visiting career.umn.edu/employers. Here, you'll get a list of staff and their contact information by college. For further information about the visa aspects of hiring international candidates, please contact International Student and Scholar Services or visit them on the web at isss.umn.edu.